The film starts in a quiet classroom. A young boy stands in front of his classmates, giving a presentation about a hero. There's no cape or superpowers in his story. His hero is his grandfather's dog named Hachi. As he begins telling the class how Hachi changed his life, the scene shifts into the past and shows how everything began. The morning commute at a small train station is calm and ordinary until a cargo train rolls in. Among the crates, a small wooden cage sits alone. Its tag has foreign writing on it, and the dog inside looks confused and frightened. No one comes to collect him, and when the train leaves, the box is knocked over and the puppy escapes, wandering through the station trying to figure out where he belongs. Soon, Professor Parker steps off his train after returning from a trip. He spots the small Akita puppy and kneels down to comfort him. He checks the tag, but can't read the writing and has no idea who the dog belongs to, so he picks up the crate and asks around the station, but nobody claims him. Even the station manager refuses to take responsibility. Parker doesn't want to leave the puppy wandering the cold streets, so he takes him home, planning to keep him only for the night. When he walks through the front door, his wife Kate is shocked to see a strange dog in the house. They had agreed not to get another pet after losing their old one. Kate tells Parker that the puppy has to go back first thing in the morning, but Parker doesn't argue. He gives the puppy a place to sleep in the shed and promises his wife it's just temporary. The next morning, Parker searches everywhere for the owner, but no luck. He even brings the dog to a local friend who works at a Japanese cultural center. He explains that the writing on the collar is Japanese and that the symbol on the tag is the character for Hachi, meaning 8. It's a number tied to luck and loyalty. She suggests that might be the dog's name. Later, Parker sits in the living room with the puppy and tells Kate he tried every possible way to find the owner, but nobody claimed him. Kate listens, still firm on her decision, and reminds him that they were never planning on getting another dog. She suggests the puppy sleep in the shed for now until they figure things out. Parker agrees, but he isn't happy about it. That evening, a strong windstorm rolls in after dark. The trees shake, the shed rattles, and Parker starts worrying about the little dog trapped out there alone. He grabs his coat and heads into the yard. When he opens the shed door, the puppy looks terrified. Parker picks him up without hesitation and brings him inside. Later that night, Parker sits at the computer, researching the strange little dog that wandered into his life. He types in the few things he knows and finds out that Hachi belongs to the Akita Inu breed, known in Japan for extreme loyalty and devotion. He looks down at the puppy nestled against his chair and smiles as if something makes perfect sense now. Later, Kate wakes up in the middle of the night to noise coming from the living room. She walks downstairs and finds Parker asleep in the sofa while Hachi sits happily beside him eating popcorn from the bowl Parker left. She touches Parker's shoulder and quietly tells him to go to bed. Seeing how peaceful the puppy looks, she sighs and gives in, just for one night, letting Hachi stay inside. The next morning, Parker takes Hachi into the yard and tries teaching him how to fetch a tennis ball. Parker throws the ball across the lawn, but Hachi doesn't chase it. Instead, he trots off toward a random scent, completely ignoring the lesson. Parker can't help but laugh. His daughter Andy, who has dropped by, watches them from the window. She tells her mother that her dad clearly loves this dog and nudges her to let him keep it. Suddenly, the house phone rings. It's someone calling about the missing puppy. She glances toward the yard where Parker and Andy are playing with Hachi. She sees all three of them bonding, smiling in a way she hasn't seen in a long time. Instead of arranging a pickup, she tells the caller that the dog has already found a home. Months later, the little pup grows into a strong, handsome Akita. He's energetic, alert, and noticeably attached to Parker. One morning, Parker leaves for work and locks Hachi in the yard, but Hachi refuses to stay behind. He digs under the fence and squeezes his way out. When Parker boards the train, he turns and sees Hachi standing proudly on the platform. He hurries off the train and tells Hachi to go home, but the dog just stares back stubbornly. With no choice left, Parker tells the conductor to leave without him. Later that day, Parker repairs the fence. Kate comes outside and asks why he isn't at work. He quickly lies and says he missed the train. She tells him to catch the next one and promises to keep an eye on Hachi. Once Parker is gone, she slips Hachi a treat, her expression softening even more toward him. Hours later, the afternoon train whistles through town, and Hachi immediately perks up. He runs straight to the station and waits at the same spot he always watched Parker leave from. When Parker steps off the train and sees him, he can't hide his surprise. Hachi rushes forward to greet him, his tail wagging hard. A few days later, Andy arrives with her new boyfriend, Michael, planning to introduce him to her parents. Parker is grilling meat in the yard when Hachi stares at the food as if he's hoping a piece will fall his way. Andy laughs and scratches him behind the ears while Michael watches Parker's bond with the dog. The next morning at work, Parker talks to his friend Ken about fetch. He's still amused that Hachi refuses to play it. Ken explains that Akitas aren't big on tricks or games. They're companion dogs, they're loyal more than anything else. Parker grins, realizing how true that feels. A few days later, Parker gets ready for work again, and Hachi insists on walking with him to the station. People start noticing the pair. To them, it's obvious that Hachi isn't just a pet, he's Parker's shadow. When the train comes, Hachi turns around on his own and walks home, knowing exactly what time to return. Hours later, when the train pulls in again, Hachi is right where he always is. The moment Parker steps off, Hachi runs to him and they head home together through the cold. Snow starts falling regularly, but it doesn't change their routine. Time keeps moving. Andy and Michael eventually get married, and both Parker and Kate beam with pride at the ceremony. Parker continues teaching at the college, and Hachi continues waiting at the station every afternoon. It becomes their ritual over the years, a small slice of peace before everything changes. The following morning, Andy arrives with great news, and tells Kate she has something huge to share. Kate can already sense it, and when Andy finally reveals her pregnancy, Kate wraps her up, overwhelmed with joy. The moment barely settles before Andy rushes outside to find Parker. Andy blurts out that he is going to be a grandfather. He freezes for a moment as the news hits him. His eyes well up and the excitement breaks through him before he can hold it back. The next day, routine continues as Parker steps off the train in the afternoon and finds Hachi already rising to meet him, and they head home. That night, after Kate returns from a long shift, she walks into the bathroom and stops at the doorway. Parker has lit candles around the tub, the soft glow reflecting off the tiles. He stands there waiting for her, wanting to remind her that even after all these years, he still sees her the same way he did in the beginning. When morning comes again, Parker leaves for work, already used to Hachi accompanying him, but today Hachi just stands there and lets out a low bark. Parker pauses, confused by the sudden change. Hachi refuses to follow, watching him with a restless energy that Parker cannot understand. He kneels down for a moment, strokes the dog's head, then heads out anyway because he cannot be late. Minutes later, Hachi can no longer sit still. He bolts out of the yard, racing through the streets until he finally reaches Parker just before he can board the train. Parker laughs, surprised to see him, and as a final effort to distract him, he throws the small ball he always tried to teach him to fetch. For the first time ever, Hachi runs after it and brings it back. Parker lights up at the sight, but time is running short. He tries to walk away but Hachi barks, as if trying to pull him back, but Parker doesn't understand and leaves. Later that morning, Parker stands in front of his class, teaching his students about the composer who never allowed his work to be recorded. He explains how the artist believed that music should be alive only in the moment it is played. As he speaks, his voice softens and he quickly sits down, feeling that something is wrong. When he tries getting up, he has a heart attack. That afternoon, Hachi takes his usual place beside the station doors, and when people walk out the station, Parker never appears. Hachi stays right where he is, waiting as the light fades. Hours later, Michael finds him still waiting there, and gently takes him home. A couple of days pass before Andy steps into the shed. She finds Hachi lying and kneels beside him and starts to cry as she tries to explaining that Parker won't be coming back, but Hachi does not understand. The family leaves for the funeral shortly after. Hachi watches from behind the fence, unaware of the finality of the moment. When afternoon settles over town, he slips away and returns to the station. He waits for hours again, till the sky dims. The man who works at the station notices him and tries to speak to him, telling him that Parker is never coming back. Hachi listens but stays exactly where he is. A few weeks later, Kate makes the decision to sell the house. She cannot live there anymore. Andy and Michael take Hachi to their home, hoping he will eventually adjust, but the dog grows quiet and still. One day, when Michael opens the door, Hachi bolts past him and runs. He races through the familiar streets, turning corners he memorized long ago, heading straight to the station. He stops only briefly at the old house, only to find new faces living there. He keeps moving until he reaches the station. He sits in his usual place and waits. Parker's old friend tries to give him a treat, but Hachi looks past him, focused only on the doors where Parker used to appear. Michael and Andy eventually find him and bring him back, but even at home he refuses to eat. He lies in the yard, listening to the distant sound of trains. When Andy finally sees his desperation, she opens the door and tells him softly to go, as she knows he will not stop searching. Back at the station, Hachi returns to his post. Hours pass and night settles in. He leaves, only to return the next day. A passing dog approaches him briefly before its owner calls it away. A reporter notices the quiet figure sitting at the edge of the platform and asks the station employee about him. Hearing the story, the reporter photographs Hachi and publishes an article about the loyal dog who waits every day for the man who will never return. Months later, Ken sees Hachi from a window and walks over. He kneels beside him and tells him how remarkable his loyalty is, how people in Japan would be proud of him. Hachi listens with slow, thoughtful eyes. Days continue to pass, seasons change, years slip by and Hachi never misses a day. Eventually Kate returns to town after being away for a long time. She visits Parker's grave and Ken meets her there, both of them sharing the quiet weight of memory. When she walks through town, she spots Hachi near the station. His fur is grayed, his body thin and tired, But he sits in the same place as always. She kneels beside him and thanks him for standing by Parker longer than anyone else ever could. The scene shifts to the present, where Kate tells her grandson about the dog who never stopped waiting. Elsewhere, Hachi returns to his usual spot beside the tracks. The evening settles around him. He closes his eyes, still waiting for the man he loved, and passes away peacefully in the same place where he spent years holding on to hope. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe for more notifications. Until next time. See you soon.